had a chance to sign in. Just if you guys are new to AIGA, a little bit about who we are. We're a design organization, and we're inclusive of all sort of design, so graphic design, UX, UI design, just really promoting design thinking and welcoming all type of designers and creators to join our flock. We have a mascot, which is a bird. We call ourselves Bird. So yeah, and if you join AIGA, you'll become a bird for us as well. So you might be familiar with us already. If you see any of us in the room or have class, feel free to say hi and connect on Instagram and LinkedIn after this. So we're all here today for the prompt reveal for the design exchange, and you might be wondering, what is the design exchange, right? Why is it not called a design challenge? So before I get into that, have you ever seen a really crappy design and you thought, oh man, okay, that is such a crappy design that I really want to help fix it, right? Or if there's a problem that you see out there that you really want to fix. Or for me personally, I see a chair at ATEC and it's really it hurts to sit on it, and I thought maybe I want to redesign that chair just to be more comfortable sitting on it. So any problem that you want to solve, this is why you're here today. That's what the design exchange is about. Trying to see, is there a design or problem that you want to solve? Ask that questions. So yeah, why the design exchange? It's to really allow you to explore what you're passionate. And that's why it's open to all type of design, open to interdisciplinary studies. So it's about collaborating among different individuals, whether you're art, psychology major, bio major, you're all welcome if you have an idea or solution that you can design and make an impact in the community. So you get to explore that passion, you get to collaborate with other design students, exchange the ideas, and then on the presentation and award night, you get to present that idea to the design experts, like from companies such as Bottle Rocket, Intuit, and more to be announced. Yeah, so we'll invite Professor Mark McKinney up to share a little bit more about our vision with the design exchange.
Yeah, so the design exchange, and yeah, it mentions that I used to work at Bottle Rocket, probably a lot of you know that. The design exchange grew out of something that Bottle Rocket does called rocket science. And what would happen is every year at the company, we would close the company for a Friday, entirely close it. All clients were told, we're not available, we're not going to be doing any work for you. And the people who worked at Bottle Rocket were allowed to do what they wanted to do. If they participated in rocket science, they were making something, or they were designing something. And that was the entire description of what happens. There was no, it has to be on this topic, there was no, it has to be for this purpose. It was to allow people to express their own passions in any form or fashion, as a team, as an individual, digital, physical, it didn't matter. The team could do what they wanted, and they had from Friday morning when it kicked off until Saturday about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So you had, I don't know, roughly 36 hours, maybe not quite that much, to work on your project and then present your project. So that was the whole point of rocket science. And as you might expect, there was a lot of variety in terms of what you would see. There were, I judged rocket science this last year, and when I went back to judge, there were people who created mini terrariums, there were people who silk screened clothes that they bought from Goodwill, there were people who built virtual reality environments. There were people who built software to help navigate the actual structure of the Bottle Rocket office. It was a tremendously broad view of what people were interested in. And that's the inspiration for the design exchange. It's less about competing with each other, and it's more about you getting an opportunity to express your passion, whatever that passion might be. there's gonna be a little bit of guidance, but it's not gonna be like design challenges you've seen here on campus before, where you're told you have to design a mobile app for this purpose. It's not going to be like that. But that inspiration, and this all came from a dinner we had, I think at Olive Garden, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we were sitting around and I was telling Gia and Kyle and others about this rocket science thing. And they said, we ought to find a way to adapt that to UTD. So this isn't 36 hours because, come on, you guys are students and you're not gonna really have just 36 straight hours to work on something. But it's inspired by the freedom that people felt from doing this kind of work at Bottle Rocket. Does that sound fair enough?
Yeah.
Is that what you wanted out of this slide?
Exactly, that is perfect. And some of the examples, the projects that Professor mentioned, we're gonna show those pictures and more descriptive. And
Yep.
all of these will be sent to you guys, the guidelines will be sent after the event today, the prom review today. So yeah, thank you, Professor.
Sure.
And we'll have Q&A, so if you have any questions, save them after this, we'll ask them all away. All right. So now that drum roll for the prom review, I don't know everybody. Ta-da! Literally design a product, a solution, or art piece to create a positive impact in local community. So digital, traditional, whatever you want it to be. Are you guys all seniors in here at ATech yet? Or are you guys prepping for your capstone yet? Yeah, so like consider this like a good beginning step for you to brainstorm for your capstone, right? So that would be a good stage to start there. All right, so some guidelines, Kai will go over them. What are the expectations? What are some common questions?
So the first step, the first thing we want to emphasize is that this project has to be only in the brainstorming or ideation stage. What we mean by that is this can't be something you've already made. We want this to be something fresh, something new, maybe something you've wanted to do for a while but you haven't had the chance to do that. We want to give you that chance to explore it, to bring this opportunity, bring your passion to life through this project. And like I said, it must be created entirely within the 3 weeks. And it must demonstrate your design thinking process. So what we mean by that is you're not just gonna submit your product itself, you'll be giving a presentation. And in that presentation, you'll be explaining why you designed your product the way you did. The insights you have about who you're designing your product for, your community, what research you did to back that up, and then also your design process of how you got from your first prototype to your final product itself. And that will all be presented on the Design Exchange Day, which we will elaborate on. So this isn't just open to AIGA members or ATech majors. Any major, any student at UT Dallas is welcome to participate. We're also opening it up to some other AIGA chapters in the area, other students. And we really just want to emphasize that anyone with a creative passion is able to participate. And we want to help you, give you this opportunity to share your vision, share your ideas, and present them to other students through Design Exchange. And so what mediums can you use? We have a lot of ideas here. We don't want to limit you specifically to this, but we have UX, UI, animation, motion graphics, sound design, cinematography, any design field that you have experience with or you've wanted to do. We encourage you to do that, and we also encourage traditional art forms like drawing, painting, cardboard, sculpture, anything that you have a passion for or a talent for or want to explore. We encourage you to go for it. When I participated in the design challenge we did last year, I had never done UX UI design before, so I took that opportunity to learn Figma and create a project there. So if you've had something that you just wanted to do, we encourage you to go for it.
And just a side note, Kyle was the second winner from the last year design challenge, and Brandon back there was the first winner for the last year design challenge. Okay, so moving on.
And so, yes, you can do this individually on your own, but we also encourage you to work with teammates if you are interested. This is design exchange, so it's all about sharing ideas and working with others. So we've created a channel on our Discord specifically for finding teammates. So if you don't have someone that you're already working with, you can find them through our Discord, and we'll also give you time after today's event so you can network with people, see if there's someone else who wants to create a project similar to you. And yeah, you can work with them throughout the entire design exchange. And so submission. You do not need to have your presentation finished by February 25th. This is merely a check-in, so that way we know you're on the right track and that you are in fact participating.
And what sort of setup you need, if it's like a giant cardboard key sculpture you need to have displayed, then we can assist you with that.
So, like we emphasized, we are not having a rubric for this project. We don't want you to have to conform your project to fit a specific set of guidelines. We want you to really be able to express yourself and your vision and take your project to meet the needs and of your users or your audience and really make it into something that fits your vision. So how are we going to analyze your projects? The judges are going to look at your solution's impact. So we mentioned about creating your product to fit a community or to assist a community. So we'll be looking at how it impacts that, and we'll also be looking at your design thinking process in your presentation. So how did you get there, and what insights do you have? And then, of course, the final deliverable itself. This will be the product, whatever UX, UI design, graphic design, traditional art, your medium, that will be evaluated, and then also your presentation. So how did you take your findings and convert that into a short presentation for the design experts to view?
Okay. So just some tips to perfect your idea, like Kyle mentioned already, is digging into the research, framing what problem you're trying to solve and who your target audience, what their pain points, needs are, right? And then through using the design process, ideation, prototyping, you might go back to iterate your design again, back and forth to make sure that your vision does truly come to life. And considering the impact on your community, how applications, explore other methods. If your traditional art won't work, then maybe look at digital, just explore and see what other methods are there. And some other tips is consider market and competitor analysis. A part of this is also considering the business strategies in your design. It helps you think clearer, how does it actually work in your community in a realistic sense. You know? So you're designing, but also considering the business aspect of it, your competitors and market. And there's some other things that will also be beneficial to you as you're working on this 3 weeks design exchange project. We'll have workshop that's coming up next Wednesday on the 15th, and we'll have 2 guest speakers, one from Bottle Rocket and one from Intuit, and they'll be emphasizing on design thinking and design strategy. So design thinking is more of that problem, the needs of the user, and the strategic design is the strategies that more related to business side, right, Professor? The design strategic? Yeah.
What could your object do in terms of, I mean,
Yep.
how will you measure the improvement it brings?
Yeah. Yep. And the timeline. Also,
And so here is the timeline. This is where we are right now. So I would get the chance to talk to everyone over here, get your teams formatted, so you can start working on your project. We're gonna have that design exchange over here on the 15th, so probably 7 days from now. You'll get a chance to talk to a mentor. Details are gonna be announced, so keep updated on our Instagram, Discord, and mail. Just keep an eye out for that. This is the mandatory check-in we're talking about. It's gonna be a while from now, but be sure you are checking in. This is important. Kyle mentioned earlier, this ensures that you have a table for your presentation. This lets us know that you're gonna be there at the event, and it gives us a heads up of what we should expect for you. And then this is gonna be the final presentation day. That's where the judging is gonna happen. You get the chance to do a presentation and you'll be able to see other people's works and see the design experts and the feedback that you'll get there. So if you guys wanna take a screenshot of this, you guys can, or not screenshot, take a picture of this. So you guys, we are gonna be posting this on our Instagram as well, so you can have that information. But be sure you guys are keeping up with that mandatory check-in date. You guys do not wanna miss that.
Okay, so some past project that we're excited to show you from the past Bottles Rocket annual event, which is the rocket science that Professor mentioned. So we'll go through some of the projects just to give you some inspiration, some ideas, what they could be. Okay, so
She is vamping because Deb Gelman, the head of design at Bottle Rocket, is on campus somewhere.
she's lost.
She's not in this room, but she's on campus somewhere. And so she may show up at any moment.
She might, yeah, when she shows up, I will pass it on to her, but yes. So some example that someone did a project on printing press, and so the goal of this was to teach people how to screen print and upcycle items they already have. So that was their goal and their vision, and so their final product was through these pictures that you see on here, prints on the shirts, on tote bags, etc. And next slide, please. And someone else made a digital application. So their purpose was creating a game that would grow the baby islander into fully self-sufficient adult by gaining experience point and leveling up. And so it's a game, right? So if that's what you're passionate about, then you're welcome to do that.
And by the way, they built that in 36 hours.
36 hours, yeah. Oh, this one is a different description, but Professor mentioned about it, the terrarium. Do you want to talk more about
Yeah,
it?
so a group at Bottle Rocket decided that part of what they wanted to do was to display ecosystems and how they are nurtured. And so they built a series of living terrariums that they then gave away to people at the rocket science event. And you know, it's entirely non-digital. It's entirely with your hands. It's very tactile to do something like this. They had to have knowledge of the plants, how they grow, what kind of environment they would flourish in. And so it was a passion for these people because they felt very strongly about ecological diversity and sustainability.
Mhm. Yeah, and I believe these project, well, on the website it said that it won the best climate or social
Yeah.
impact.
Yep. Yeah, at Bottle Rocket, they have a lot of categories. It's not really a competition, but there's categories that you can be highlighted in. You don't get any prizes. All you get is everybody's chance to give you a hard time if you win the best failure category.
Right, yes, and it's about exchanging ideas once again. And someone built synth, and basically they just gather objects and see what they could make out of that 36 hours. But of course, you guys have 3 weeks, so you really want to just go crazy with it, go for it. You want to gather found objects and make something out of it, go for it. And someone, if you know, they've made an ADHD coach app, so maybe they felt related, they have empathy for kids that have anxiety and feel distracted. So they made an app that would be better, alleviate the frustration in the user and better manage their time. So if you're facing a problem and you empathize with your users, maybe that's what something you can create for those individuals.
Yeah, this was done by a lady named Raina Probst, and Raina's a tremendously good UX designer. She did it all as a prototype. It wasn't an actual app. She built it as a prototype. Again, 36 hours, one person. But her son has ADHD, and so she had a passion for it, and so that's what she put together. And this won the, I think, best to watch out for.
Yeah.
Because it could actually become an app and become a real product.
Yeah, so all of the projects mentioned won some
Yeah.
category, whether it's social impact, best to look out for, or most potential project, yeah. And puppy playtime time, someone felt that they really love puppies, and there are a lot of puppies in the animal shelters that don't have toys, right? So the homeless puppies, they made these DIY toys out of, I believe, cloth or so, yeah.
Yeah, they wove
Yeah.
different cloths and materials together to make pull toys or
Mhm.
chew toys for dogs.
And so they're framing that problem that they're trying to solve is to somehow make these homeless puppies a bit more social or have something to do with to prevent the anxiety and stress that they have in those shelters. So that's some of the examples. Hopefully that gave you guys some ideas kind of brewing of that creative energy. So we'll go a bit into the award night. So, the award presentation night and award night is gonna be a bit different. You're not gonna be standing up like this and present, right? But you're gonna have rather a booth, kind of think of it like a science fair, if that makes sense. So you'll have your own booth, you get your own table, you decorate it however you like, express your personality or the personality of your project, right? And then practice your pitch. The judges are gonna be walking around your booth and you'll get to pitch it between 2 to 3 minutes. So kind of have an idea, practice how you're gonna explain your design process, your problem within those 3 minutes. And so these are only some of the categories, the awards that we listed on there, but there will be more. So the big ones are the Design Expert Choice, People Choice Award, and additional categories. So Design Expert Choice is gonna be selected by our panels of the design experts. They'll go by grading those 4 factors, the social impact, the deliverable, your presentation skills, right? And then People Choice, it's gonna be more of you guys walking around other people's booth and then vote for the project that you thought is very unique, it's very innovative. And then additional categories is the one that we'll announce more. So yeah, those are the big awards. So now we're open up to questions, but of course we'll send you guys this PowerPoint on Discord, so that's why be sure to join Discord if you're looking for team members still. And also, we're gonna keep you guys updated on the mentors, so we can connect you with a mentor.
Can we offer just a little bit more inspiration?
Yeah, of course. Do you have any more in mind?
No, you do. Tell them about your capstone project.
Oh.
I'm supervising Gia's capstone this semester. Tell them a little bit about what you're doing.
Okay, so my capstone project is about alleviating homelessness in Dallas. And so I don't exactly have like an actual physical ending deliverable product, right? So it's more like the process that I'm doing is hosting art workshops, art programs for the homeless. And the reason that led to this was because while I was volunteering with the homeless organization in Dallas and doing my research, how can I actually alleviate this problem? But it's such a huge problem, how can I just solve homelessness? It's impossible. So understanding that I am passionate about art, passionate about helping these people, so I researched and found out that, okay, there are a lot of stigma about homelessness, and you know, when you drive up the intersection and you see these homeless people, but you avoid eye contact, even though you don't have any bad intentions, you just feel bad, and why is that? So kind of want to clear that stigmas about homeless people are drug addicts or are lazy, or they don't want to get out of that cycle, but really it's because they don't feel like they're a part of the community. They are isolated, even though there are helps, we give them money, but those are temporary solutions. It's more on the mental health and support that allows to break that cycle of homelessness. So that's why the art program is helping as a therapy source, but also a creative development, career development, and helping them to create the skills. And we're actually working on turning, plastic into fabric. And so we're looking at ways to turn found objects, we're using found objects which are like cardboards, things that you find around on the road, anywhere really, and turn them into usable art, usable products.
Yeah, and one thing I want you to pay attention to what she said there was, it's a process. She didn't design a thing, she designed a process. Processes have to be designed too. So she designed a process of teaching art workshops to help homeless people use found objects to make art, okay? But it doesn't ever stop, it's an ongoing process. So when you think of design, don't always think of it has to end with a thing. It can be designing a process, it can be designing a system, designing educational materials. Design is everywhere. And so this is a design exchange. You design what you believe could help a local community. And it can be as minute as doing chew toys for dogs. It can be as big as trying to create an entire process for restructuring how homeless people are viewed in a city, okay? From big to small, physical to you can't even see it, taste it, or touch it. Any of that works here.
Yeah, but at the end, there's gonna be gallery exhibiting the work of these people that made that homeless individual. So hopefully I'll announce that more, but hopefully would love to see you guys come and support these people's artwork. Yeah. So yeah, do you guys have any questions, any concerns, comment, feedback, negative, positive?
Yeah, and if you want to hear about the rocket science thing, I'll hang around and be glad to answer any questions you have about that. I participated for 5 years and I'm now judged for 2 years.
What
So I
did you
think-
create in the past years?
My best one was I created the Optimaxer. This was a software application to increase optimism. And so when we put it out to display this prototype, it wasn't a real app, we burned incense and we had nice quiet music playing, and you know, the whole idea was to have everybody feed in optimistic things they saw, big, little, and then you would get a constant feed, and what you would see is how many acts of kindness were happening that moment, every 5 seconds, every minute, every hour, and that would improve your optimism about the world. That was my favorite one.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Which one was your least favorite one that you created?
Oh.
Enlighten us.
Yeah, we made a video making fun of the sales team.
Oh.
That was a mistake. That didn't go over well.
Oh.
It didn't play well. Seemed like a good idea at the time.
You know, then you had 36 hours, so it's okay.
It was a spectacular failure.
Yeah. Do you guys have any idea that you already have in mind you want to share with others? Maybe kind of just open up the floor, see what idea you have? Any project that you guys already thought about, but now finally have the chance to work on?
What were like the past, oh, sorry. Like, I was gonna ask, what were the past like winners, like?
Oh yeah, I have the website so I can pull up and show you guys real quick.
And again, remember at Rocket Science, it's not really about competition so much as it's about trying. And we really always had a category called spectacular failure, because there were people try stuff and it just wouldn't work. You only had 36 hours. But it was an ambitious try, okay? So we wanted to recognize that. The lead Android engineer at Bottle Rocket has done the same project for almost every year. He's building a robot, but he's 3D printing every element of the robot and then wiring it and such. And this time, it could take questions in and respond. So it had an AI component built in, so it could actually talk to you. But it's only about half built, and it's called Gary because Gary was our chief financial officer. And so Gary, the robot, is being built, and we would ask him questions like, you know, how's the bottom line going, Gary? And the robot would say, you don't get to know.
Oh, okay, so, so all of the projects I've mentioned is actually on here, so the 10, considered the, best overall project.
Yeah, notice that the screen printing thing was the best overall.
Yeah.
This is a company that builds mobile apps, okay? So you think there's probably a bias towards digital products, but the one that won was a very tangible physical activity.
Yep, so that's the best overall, and then best tech, which is the app, the game they've developed. And then we have the most creative, which is the plant shop. Then we
Yeah,
have
Build a
the-
Synth was the brilliant failure
Yeah.
because they didn't build anything. They tried to put a whole bunch of parts together and just none of it actually worked. But it was a very ambitious project to try and build a synthesizer in 36 hours.
Right. Then the most ambitious was the rocket burst.
That was a virtual reality booth.
Yeah, so if you're gonna set up something like that, make sure you do the mandatory check-in so we can help you set up a virtual reality environment or space that you need.
Who in this room has a VR rig? Because I want to talk to you. All right.
Ooh, yeah. Also, like, if you guys ever, this is like, new, but if you guys ever want to rent out or borrow a VR headset, the Open Lab, actually. If you guys are taking VR classes.
Talk to
yeah.
Jeff Price.
Yeah, Jeff Price, the professor, is
Yeah.
the one that
He needs
teaches
permission.
VR, so really cool, really cool. If you need guidance on that. So then the other one, Community Impact Award, is the ADHD Coach app. And then we have another Community Impact Honorable Mention, it's like Puppy Playtime. This one is another one, it's a cyber guy, I don't think I mentioned this one. but-
This was a bunch of printed sheets to give to your older relatives to help them navigate how to use technology.
I love that they printed out sheets because, you know, old
Uh-huh,
people more,
yeah.
that's the reason why.
I took a little bit of offense because it turns out that what they considered older was a lot younger than me.
And yeah, so that's some of the price, the categories, examples. Does that answer your question?
I was curious what like actual officers did, like what you said you mentioned.
Oh, our past design challenge.
Oh, our past
Oh,
design
design
challenge.
sorry.
Oh, our past design challenge. We don't have it ready, but we do have the PowerPoint, we can send that, but actually Kyle and Brendan participated in it, so, they can share a bit about what they made, if you're curious about that. Is that okay? Oh, there's Instagram post too, but Brandon can share what he made. Actually, the prompt was related to Comet Gala, and what Comet Gala is an event that we pull together all diverse group of students on campus, dancers, artists, to host an event that celebrate creators and creatives, right? So they make products that emphasize what Comet Gala is about.
Right, I didn't warm up for this, so I might be a little bit scatterbrained right now. But yes, it was to design, what's it called?
It was just to communicate what Comet Gala is about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
Basically
created,
make them market the event for us.
yes, I created a motion graphic presentation. Is that showing on there?
Yeah, actually, this is
Show it
what
on
is
there.
green.
Oh boy.
Okay, there's music too, but I don't know if it's going to play. So, yeah, this was the design challenge. So third place was Kyle. He designed an app for all of the activities that was happening at Comet Gala. And then second place was a website about Comet Gala. And then first place was Brandon's motion graphic.
So yeah, that video, it was, I tried to evoke the 5 senses because that was our theme for Kamigawa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I might have been a little too literal about that, but I think it worked out.
Yeah, and he emphasized it really great. So the judges were, Sanjay from Dialexa, someone from Tandem Theory, and then there was one more person and I couldn't remember. But yeah, it was overall some of the project. We mostly received digital products, submissions for this past design challenge, but that's why this year we're wanting to welcome more, especially the merge between the arts, humanity, and the technology. So we want to see what other ideas are out there. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Is there any criteria that we might have we designed this, like, not like a rubric, I don't want to like make school focus, but is there anything that we should keep in mind?
Yeah. So I think that goes back to the PowerPoint. It's very open-ended once again, and Professor can explain on it, but it's social
Yeah.
impact, uniqueness, and innovation.
Yeah. All it has to be is something that has an impact on a local community, and a community is broadly defined. You know, your community is up to you to define, but that's it. It just has to have some impact on a local community. That is the entire requirement. It can be anything. It can be any process, experience, product, software. It can be whatever you want to make, okay?
So local doesn't just mean like in a geological sense. Local can mean like, oh, if the violin is a new invention and someone invents the shoulder rest and it only affects violinists worldwide, even though it's not constrained to any location, it's considered local.
That's your community, right? If that's your
Well,
community.
That's just an example
Yeah.
that I made up.
I mean, I think that's how we're thinking about it, right? You define your community, okay? So your community might be the people who live in our building. It might be the people who live in our town. It might be all the people around the world who are interested in scuba diving. I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
You define your community and then create something or design something that has an impact on that community.
Or if you are someone who really loves pineapples on their pizza like me, like, honestly, design something about it, promote that.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Promote it because that's the best pizza. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. All of you that don't like fruit on your pizza, I'm sorry, you're wrong.
That is foul. I'm sorry, it's foul.
Yeah, any more questions? Yeah, okay, well, before we get to the pizza, want to make sure everybody join the Discord, you know, just so you get the updates on there. Because tomorrow we'll start sending out a lot of stuff related to team formation, check-ins, all of those details. So join out if you haven't